celebrate, life. The other reason is, it's an excuse for absolute gluttony, and I'm all for everything in excess. I hate moderation. If I'm gonna run, I'm gonna run for hours. If I'm gonna eat, I'm gonna pig out. But we invited friends and family. We're going to have this huge feast, and I started preparing weeks in advance. It was going to be a huge spread. I started making all these desserts and just freezing them or putting them in the fridge, and pies and cakes and cookies and fudge. So much fudge that my girlfriend's wife started sneaking it out the front door. And I say sneaking like you have to be real stealthy around a blind deaf guy. But she was giving her away to neighbors and friends, and they were coming back and saying, "Hey, can we buy more of this from you?"
Uh-huh.
The capitalist in me said, "Well, of course you can." And that's how EODfudge.com got started. Or now, instead of Explosive Ordinance Disposal, EOD stands for Extraordinary Delights.
Aaron, I ask a lot of questions and have a lot to say in these interviews, but I'm just awe-inspired by what you've managed to achieve every time you've had to overcome another obstacle. Where is it that you go in your mind to overcome these obstacles? Because these are massive things that you have to overcome, and for us, sometimes we just encounter little things and we have challenges with it. But what is it that you think about, or what gets you to jump over these obstacles and continue on?
I tend to learn a lot from the books I read and the leaders that I want to emulate, and I just try to pick up their habits. I heard a guy say that motivation is garbage because it's like a sugar high. It comes and goes, and it's not. You can't sustain motivation. And it's like, so you have to fall back on discipline. As part of being 100% blind and not being able to sense sunlight, there's a sleep disorder comes with it. It's kind of nicknamed non-24, but your circadian rhythms are all not messed up. So your body doesn't know when it's supposed to be tired or when it's supposed to be awake. And often I could spend all night wide awake, quote unquote, staring at the ceiling, but all day feeling like a zombie. But my son's got to get ready for school in the morning, and I've got to be there to get him ready. And now he's recently read Way of the Warrior Kid by Jocko Willink, former SEAL, and he wants to be a warrior. And now he wants to work out with me in the morning. So 5 a.m. every day, my 8-year-old and I are out doing push-ups and sit-ups, and I can't use the excuse, I'm a little tired, I'm going to sleep in. So it's discipline that gets me out there and gets me keeps me moving when I'm not motivated. Besides that, it's just focusing on what my values are, what's important to me, and what I need to do to continue doing doing these things. And of course, what's most important to me is family. My wife, my son, 2 identical twins on the way, which scared the hell out of me.
I bet.
My wife thinks she's going to have a hard time telling them apart. But it's just discipline and setting big, audacious goals and then breaking them down into bite-sized pieces. So just last July, I ran my first ultra, a 12-hour race in Alabama, and aptly named Southern Discomfort, because it's late July in Alabama, and it's hot and very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I managed to run 50 and a half miles. But it took training, and I had to break it down. What do I have to do for my body? How do I need to train it to get it that far in that time frame?
Yeah.
And that's what I did, day to day, week to week.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned motivation. People say it doesn't work. It's like a sugar high. And I can understand why people think about that. But those are the type of people that get their hit and walk away from it instead of paying attention and working the program. And you mentioned you have to work hard. And I think people often overlook at how hard you have to work to achieve and succeed. You've clearly proven that to many people through your own success in overcoming challenges. Where do you see the chocolate business going? I'm looking at the website right now. What do you think? Where's that going?
I'm sorry, what was that? What about the chocolate?
Yeah, just asking you what your goals are for the chocolate business and where you're heading with that.
Oh, well, of course, we're going to continue to make the best fudge and other goodies we can, but we're soon going to be expanding our line, focusing on a luxury line for hotel and resort turn-down services and things of that nature. We'd like to offer an assortment, various assortments of truffles, including wine and chocolate pairing, red wine, white wine, and a whiskey pairing box, and then a larger assortment. We just released our first of a signature series of designer chocolate bars. The first one is a dark chocolate and ancho chili powder bar we call Prairie Fire. And it's recently just been added to the website. We're hoping it does well. But right now for Valentine's Day, we're showcasing our strawberry white fudge, which is, I think, my wife's and my mother's favorite flavor. It's got strawberries, white chocolate, and a tequila cream liqueur layer over a semi-sweet layer of fudge. And it's really pretty darn good, if I do say so myself. But we're going to start offering more products, and hopefully it will grow in followership, customers, and continue to offer the best treats we can.
Well, I'm overly impressed with your chocolate website. It's funny to even say that because we're talking about chocolates, which are such a treat, and going from the military to running a chocolatier. But gosh, you look happy. I've watched some of your videos. You sound happy. You've overcome some incredible challenges. I can only hope that people, as they listen to your story, as I did, there was a lot of words of wisdom within what you had to say that I can apply to my own life. Some resounding, common themes that you've implored in overcoming challenges. And I don't mean to over deliberate on that, but I just think it's so important to take an example like yourself. What we encounter on a daily basis is nothing compared to what you've done. So, I really want to thank you for being on the show. We're at about 35 minutes or so, and I try to keep it about there. I don't want to bore people, although you've had such an exciting life. Where can people follow you or get more information? I know your fudge is eodfudge.com, correct?
That's correct. Also find us on Facebook, and I'm on Instagram as Blind Adventure. But eodfudge.com, EOD Confections for the Instagram and Facebook.
So I got to ask, do you have another big lofty physical goal in the near future?
Well, so far this year, I'm looking for another 50-miler, maybe a a 100-miler. I do have aspirations of running Badwater, and of course, by when I went deaf, meningitis, I was 1 week away from flying to Kilimanjaro to climb that. So I'm going to reattempt that in 2020. But the only race I have already on the books is CIM in Sacramento, California. So far, that's all I've got.
Well, I'll tell you, if you ever book yourself to go run Badwater, I will come out and be part of your support crew. I've done it before for some of the runners. It's an incredible race. If, as a listener, if you're not familiar with Badwater, it's the lowest point in the United States, lower 48 states, to the highest point, which is Mount Whitney. It's over 100 plus miles, and you're encountering over 100 and probably 115 degree weather, running through the desert, and then up into Mount Whitney, where it could be as cold as freezing. So nothing small about that, Aaron.
No, but easy is boring.
Yeah. Well, listen, I race Spartan races competitively. I did 2 ultras last year, one in Iceland last month and one in Lake Tahoe. If you ever get the niche to do a Spartan race, I'd love to do it with you and run alongside of you. I'd be real proud to do that. So you let me know if that's ever something you want to do. Again, I want to thank you for being on the show, and we look forward to hearing more from you.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Well, there you have it. And if Aaron doesn't want you to get off your butts, BUT''S's in your life, go out there and do something, make a difference, make a change for yourself, for your family, for your financial freedom, whatever it might be. Aaron is certainly an inspiration to me. Learning his story and his willingness, as he mentioned, I want to be the best blind person I could be. Who says that? Aaron did. And, if I apply that same principle in my life without the physical challenges that he has, I can only imagine how much better I can be at what I'm currently doing. So back to what I said in the beginning of the show is following passion, purpose, equaling profitability. I know that I can continue to see success and achieve my goals that I've mapped out. And I guarantee you, I've got my goals mapped out for 2019. I know exactly what I want to make each month. I know how much time I want to spend with my kids. I know what vacation I want to go on. And yeah, those things change, but the fact is they're written down. And as I mentioned also, I've changed my profitability within that because I've seen myself achieve my goals earlier, and I know that it works. So I've actually changed some of those financial goals and increased them because I know I'm working towards something. And I also have a 5-year plan. When you hit 50, all of a sudden, like, wow, what do I want to do later in life? And when is the retirement age? When do I want to stop this game? So I pushed my long-term goal to 55 because to me, that's although I say I retired from my tequila company back in 2017, I wound up doing some work again with Baja United Wines and creating that business. I really feel like when I'm 55, my kids will be at the perfect age to travel, have fun with, do sports and all those things. So 55 is my new in-game goal. I hope, please, continue to listen to this show because I have a vision that this will be my retirement job to continue to bring this show to people and interview great, incredible people, but adding that value to my listeners. So, get out there, write your goals down, think short-term, think long-term. And if you remember my interview back with Phil Downs, he was another military vet. His quote was, have a bias for action. I love that so much because, if we can get up and have that bias for action, you're not going to waste any time during the day. And oftentimes I find myself dissecting my minutes, like, okay, how can I be the most productive in the next hour before I pick up the kids from school, and I look at my list of to-dos, I knock them out. I always like to knock out the hard things first and let the easy things slide through the rest of the day because I know they're going to be easy. Anyways, what a great show. Thank you for listening. I've got several interviews lined up. They're going to keep getting better. Well, I don't want to say better because these have all been great. They're going to be equally amazing with some incredible people I can't wait to deliver to you. If you enjoy the show, please share it with a friend. Post this up on your social media. It really means